Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another episode of the Day After Show. Apologies for the wait. Seems like we've constantly got a delay.
Do you want to let the people know why we're an hour late?
Well, I mean, I did. In fairness, I did schedule.
No, it's important you let them know, though, mate. You've been doing some big time stuff.
Well, usually we do it at 6:30, but I got the call up from Wayne Rooney. So I was on a podcast with Wayne Rooney. And to be honest with you, I haven't been so nervous for a podcast since I was on like Sky. That was like 3 years ago, isn't it? So I was absolutely bricking it.
He's not phased by us mere mortals, you see.
No, he's all right now. Yeah,
he gets nervous around certain toffees.
Do you know what it is? Like I try and look at it. Like with me and Charlie, we were speaking about this earlier when we were talking about the players. They're just people. But at the same time, you're like, fuck, this is one of, like I was explaining to Rachel, this is one of the greatest footballers of a generation. Like, that is pretty cool. So I don't know. Maybe I made the cut. Maybe they've cut me out. Who knows? We'll find out. So if you want to check it out, you can on the BBC. So we'll see what happens there. Anyway, how was your day, Charlie?
Good day, mate. I've seen you this morning, mate, didn't I? I spent most of the weekend with you. Mate, it's been all right, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, no, mate, we've had an all right day. Obviously, good win yesterday. And yeah, mate, it's nice to be chatting about a win after, some difficult performances over the last week or so. And we just got to hope we can carry this momentum into the next sort of 2-3 games we've got coming up, which there's some big ones in there again. So, yeah.
What about you, Warren? How's things? You got the Rangers shirt again.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Chelsea. I mean, I assume that sort of most of our fan base knows about our affiliation with Glasgow Rangers, and that extends to Hamburg and Lingfield, the Blues brothers, as it were. It's also a little bit of a statement, kind of against not just shirt prices, because I appreciate that every club charges a fortune for their shirts, but just the amount of kits that are available and everything. So it's kind of like a little bit of a statement against how unaffordable it is, especially for like parents with children and stuff like that. And so it's just like my little subliminal one of them to shirt prices, and how excluded a lot of people are from being able to have everything that everybody else. It's just kind of one of them ones. Sorry, you caught me off guard with that, but yeah, back in the Rangers top always.
No, I haven't got a problem with that. I mean, if anything, we should celebrate. Celtic lost today. They lost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that. I've never been such a St Mirren fan in my life, but yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously, I live in the northeast. I'm pretty close to the border there, so a lot of Rangers fans, especially like we've got Newcastle next week, which is a local game for me, obviously. So there'll be quite a number of Rangers fans that will attend the game on behalf of like representing Chelsea up north as well. So it's a strong affiliation, especially once you look into it and start to meet people. So, but that's what that's all about. But yeah, great weekend, 3 points. I'm gonna have a smile on my face. It's 3 points.
Hey, happy days. How are you, Thomas, mate? I saw you on the weekend.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean,
did you get a trim?
Yeah, I ended up getting it. They closed at like 6:15. Because they had like some sort of Christmas dinner. I managed to get in there, and they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to leave at 6," and then they ended up staying until 6:30. So yeah, it was nice of them. But yeah, I mean, it was a slightly different experience in terms of match day experience yesterday, because I was with my friend in East, and he gets to have not those booths, but like those like sort of rooms where you can have the food and all of that. Those 3-course meals. I've never actually had that before. I'm always in MHL, so it was a slightly different experience. I mean, I enjoy it, but I think I'd never spend more money to do that unless it was like a boring game, like an Everton at home is the game where I'd most likely do it. But yeah, I don't think I'd ever trade off that seat or that like experience for the atmosphere. So yeah, it was slightly different, but I mean, the game itself was kind of reflected that. It wasn't the most entertaining, but yeah, it was good that we got the 3 points in the end.
Hey, we're going to talk about atmosphere in a bit. Me and Charlie, we've got a story for you boys.
I thought you were going to tell him the haircut story that you couldn't do the basic maths about amount of haircuts in a year on the way in.
Oh God, yeah, that That was it. Yeah. Can you imagine this? So me and Charlie, we went to Cobham this morning. We got invited by a friend of ours called Michael, who sits in Matthew Harding. Kindly invited us. I mean, he didn't have to, but yeah, very, very, very kind of him. So we appreciate if you're watching, Michael. And as we're being greeted, Charlie's just banging on about how many haircuts he. What was it? The lady's trying to greet us, and he's basically ignored her.
No, I wasn't. No.
I
wasn't quite.
And
like
he's trying to do the maths on if you have 6 haircuts a year, how many is that a month? And he couldn't figure it out.
It's one every 2 months, right?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It took a while to get there, but we got there in the end. I mean, I say I was there, but
It's just
anyway,
12
how are you, Scott?
Yeah, I'm good. Glad we got the 3 points yesterday. Just been chilling today. And yeah, like just happy we can talk about a win after our last few games.
It's nice to have a positive discussion. Absolutely. I mean, you do feel it with every interaction you end up having, right? You have a positive discussion. I mean, let's start on something really positive. Let's start on something really positive, because I almost need to clarify myself. For those of you who were watching the show last week when we were in Italy, we were doing this at 11 p.m. Italian time, and I was in a hotel. So I was trying to talk about Gusto, and I got interrupted by my neighbor knocking on the wall. And then I saw myself getting slated in the comments because I didn't have a chance to actually clarify. Because basically, I said after Atalanta, I think Gusto is actually progressing under Maresca. I think he's improving. And then people were like, what the fuck are you on about? By this point, I'd been interrupted. I couldn't. So let me clarify that, and then we'll talk about Gusto anyway, because I mean we have to. My point after Atalanta was not that I want him to play in the midfield, not that I want him to play as an 8 or a 10. It's that I just see a massive improvement from his own sense in terms of the way he's been coached to make certain runs, to attempt to do certain balls. And that doesn't mean that he has the technical ability, but I'm seeing a more proactive Gusto in the sense that I don't think last season he would have had, well, he didn't have a clue last season how to play in the midfield. And I think this year he has an idea. So all I was trying to get across was that, yeah, it might not have worked, but actually, if you look at what Gusto was doing and what he was trying to do, the intention was really nice. And we saw that obviously coming through today. But that's just to clarify. But where do we start with Gusto? Go on, let's start off with you, Scott, mate. Because, yeah, go on.
I thought it was excellent yesterday. Like, I think it's the first game we've seen of him since Maresca's come in where he's done the inverting role and has managed to perform it to a great or close to elite level. It's only the second game I think he's played in midfield in general where he's performed to this level that I can remember. The other one being the Liverpool game. And yeah, like it was good to see, because with Maresca's system, whether people like it or not at this point, the fullbacks are going to have to do this stuff. We've seen Reece do it. We've seen Cucurella do it. We saw Hatter do it to a very minor extent at the start of the season and was not good at it. We've seen Josh do it. Like, we've seen all of our fullbacks do it. And outside of Hato, but it's early doors, Gusto is the only fullback who seemed to not have any idea how to do it, seemed to get confused, seemed to have no understanding of positionally where he needed to be, seemed to have no understanding of, like, technically what he needed to do in that role. But yeah, like I said, yesterday was the first game he's really shown that to that level. And it's nice to see. And like, ultimately, at the end of the day, if he can keep doing that, it's fine. I think the issue that like myself and others have had with him is this, just that if he's gonna be here, he needs to fit in this system. If he can't fit in this system, it's pointless him being here, because number one, he's going to perform poorly, as we've seen last season and the first half of this season. And it's going to end up being a detriment to the team. But if he can continue performing like he did yesterday, where it's an actual, like, he's a positive to the team, like most of the game yesterday, we had 2 right backs in midfield again. But it didn't really matter too much, because they were both actually performing to the level we expect of them, or we want for them if they're going to be asked to do that role. And so, yeah, like, if he can perform to that level, if he can keep, providing passes like he did for Palmer, which I've never seen him even attempt that before. So fair play to him for wherever he pulled that out of. If he can continue getting into the box like he did for the goal, like that's going to be positives. And then he'll finally be able to turn around the perception of him from some fans and be able to turn around in terms of, because like this season was make or break for him. We've seen one fantastic season and one truly terrible season. This was the kind of make or break season for him in terms of whether he was going to be the answer long term in this team as the backup to Reece, or at times the starter if Reece is playing midfield. And like I said, more performances like yesterday, please.
I think he really understands the system now. Like last season, you could tell that he weren't comfortable inverting into midfield. He weren't comfortable kind of picking the ball up in the centre of the park. But now I think he really understands the system. I think his quality's improved on the ball quite a lot compared to last season. I said after the game, I think that was his best game in a Chelsea shirt since he's joined the club. Like, I thought it was absolutely outstanding. You know, he gets the goal, he gets the assist. And yeah, he just understands what's being asked of him so much better. He doesn't look as lost when he's picking up those positions in the final third. Yes, ideally you don't want, your fullbacks arriving in the final third. Really, you want your players who've got better quality on the ball to be there. But as you said, Scott, you've got, as a result of this system, that is going to happen. And if they're going to do that, then they might as well be good at it. And I think Gusto is showing that he can now do that. He has got that quality on the ball. And I'm really pleased for him because he had a very good first season. Last season, he absolutely struggled. But I think people forget he's still only 22, 23. And there's plenty of room for improvement, plenty of scope to get better. And I think it works quite well having him and Reece on the pitch together. But it's going to be interesting now, sort of throwing it forward a little bit. Now that Caicedo is back from his ban, what does he do with the right back situation? Because I imagine Caicedo will go straight back into midfield. Maybe he rotates Enzo Fernandez a bit more and uses James in midfield more to get Gusto in, starting at right back more regularly, or maybe he just rotates Gusto and James at right back. I don't know, but these are all good problems to have. But yeah, it's definitely a massive plus for us to have Gusto back to somewhere near his best form.
Tom, Warren, I mean, you're an old school fan. And generally, when I speak to fans like yourself, they're not a fan of right backs inverting. They want to see overlapping. I mean, that's the general consensus that I get. So, I mean, do you agree with that? Like, I don't even know your stance on it in the beginning, to be fair, but I can imagine you probably didn't like it at first. Maybe you're opening up to it a little bit like me.
Well, yeah, I would definitely say that you'd be right. When I first started to see it, obviously you started to see it with sort of like the Pep effect of football and that kind of, culture of football that we've moved towards massively, not just in England, but all around Europe and all around the world, and the idea of an inverted fullback, it wasn't that I didn't like the idea of it. It's just that the idea of it was completely alien to me. I grew up watching Frank Sinclair and Stevie Clark and Graham Lasso and Dan Petrescu. And Dan Petrescu was probably the first person that we had that was like a technical fullback. Like having Dan Petrescu was like the most exotic thing in the world. Having a fullback that could get on the ball and hit a volley and ping a pass, as well as just being able to run up and down and win headers and do like the traditional role. So yeah, the inverted fullback was a difficult concept for me to grasp initially, but when you see people of Reece James's technical ability, and then you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold, I know it didn't necessarily work for him when we put him in there for the Euros. It doesn't take away what an amazingly gifted footballer he is, right? And as an inverted fullback, how good he can be in that role. And we saw sort of like Zinchenko do it at Man City with brilliant like end results. So I'm not against it, because if it works and we win, do it. Absolutely. And Gusto, I take everybody's point on board that Gusto has improved massively. I think that his decision making, and more than anything, his concentration. He used to be one of these players that for the first 10 minutes of a match, you really fancied him to make a mistake. Gusto, you really fancied him to make a mistake the first 10 minutes of a match. It was almost like he needed to make a mistake to kick himself up the arse to get himself focused. And I think that is the area that he's improved on massively. I think that also even when he's playing kind of that inverted role, his first role is as a right back. And I think that he's learned to appreciate that about his own role and how important that is to the team for the balance and stuff. So I think that he's massively improved. However, I do think that like a lot of fans are talking massively about somebody that's kind of had 1.5 good games, and it's like, let's see if he's still doing this in March. Like, and I'm not taking anything away from his performance. Brilliant yesterday, man of the match yesterday, as far as I'm concerned. Brilliant performance, and has improved a lot recently. But let's just calm down a little bit with the idea of him being the brand new best inverted fullback in the world, because he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I'm used to seeing Gusto in that overlapping role, which I prefer seeing him do, because we saw at the start of the season, I think it was Fulham at home, West Ham away, Gusto was overlapping, but you need Palmer or Estevao in that 10 if you want that to happen. You can't have a traditional out and out winger, because if you're playing Neto, then you can't have an overlapping fullback who's also playing that role. As in, like, they can overlap, but they can't start. Obviously, like, not.
They're going to fill the same space.
Exactly,
too much.
they're going to fill that space. Estevao will tuck in, or Palmer, or whoever it is. So, I mean, yeah, like, I was watching at the start of the game. I told you, Alex, yesterday as well. I was seeing Gusto and James in the double pivot, and I was just slightly surprised, like, not shocked, but just slightly surprised, because I just wouldn't think that we'd ever see that, a double pivot of Gusto and James. And I think the reason why Maresca loves that is just the physicality of James and then the pressing of Gusto. So they both complement each other very well when you don't have someone like a Caicedo, or when Enzo defensively, we know that's not his best attribute. So I think they complement each other well. And yeah, Gusto, like Charlie said, he's learning technically as well how to play that role, sort of pick up those better positions. Obviously, I don't think he's the type of person you always want in the final third on the ball. Like, you want Palmer, obviously, in the final third. So I think Gusto, when he's picking up those positions, or when he's coming back for the cutback, I think that's when he's best. But yeah, also I saw yesterday as well, he's not afraid to also sort of overlap Neto as well. So he'll provide runs also like after Neto. So he'll give Neto an option, and then that will mean that Neto doesn't always have two people to take on for his 1v1s. It's the same with all the time with our wingers. I feel like they're often very isolated, and that's why the inverted fullback thing is good, but then that's the thing, you don't get the overlapping fullback, which sometimes I think we lack with our wingers, and the wingers sometimes have to do a lot to beat their man. So yeah, I mean, I was impressed with him yesterday inverting. Obviously, that's not my favourite position that I like to see him in, but yeah, if he can continue that in bigger games like Newcastle away, I think it will be a testament to how much he's improved in that position.
Do you guys think, well, I'll ask you this again, Thomas, like you spoke about Reece James's physicality, Gusto's pressing, that's all off the ball majority. I think we know what James offers on the ball. Like, do you think we've learned something new about what Gusto can do when we have possession?
Yeah, I do think so, 100%. Like yesterday, we even saw that, the pass for the first goal. I mean, it's not that I didn't know he had it in his locker. It's more the fact that we've not really seen him produce that quality yet. Like, I remember last season, there was a lot of games where he'd be in that final third. We'd receive the ball in that pocket of space, almost in the 10, and he would just he'd waste the opportunity for us to progress the ball. He'd waste the opportunity to put a good ball into the box. But yesterday, like the finish as well, that's a very tough finish, like to execute that. And I think he did that very well. The pass was very good. I mean, I didn't ever see him in there and go like, oh, there was a lack of quality there. So I think it's all about getting used to that role. It's the same with many things in life as well. The more you start to do something, the more you get used to it. So I think the more that Gusto plays that role, the more technically he's going to get better on it. It's like last season, in the final of the Conference League, Betis in the first 20 minutes, he was just so shaky on the ball in that inverted role. And we were all just like, yeah, he just hasn't got it technically. But now it's almost the same thing with Reece James. Like, I've kind of changed my opinion on Reece, that the fact that he's able to play in that midfield now, like I feel confident that he's able to do that. And I think we're going to get to a stage with Gusto where maybe it's going to be, obviously he's not technically as good as James, but it might become a normality where we see Gusto in there. Obviously we don't have Lavia, we don't have Asugo, and that's why I was slightly surprised Santos wasn't playing, because he is that out and out midfielder that I think we all like to see in that double pivot. So I was slightly surprised he didn't play, but obviously Maresca prefers that sort of energy and tenacity.
He's not playing, so he doesn't trust him. He doesn't fully trust him at the moment.
I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's developed enough in his game. I don't think there's any question about his probably like
what
ability.
Proof do you have of that though? Because he was really good in France.
Yeah.
No, but
It's a
the Premier
different,
League's
I
so
think it's a
different,
different game, different pressures. Maybe
But-
I think that's something that's probably forgotten a lot when we talk about like I mean, compared to me, like fucking children. When you talk about like 19, 20-year-olds, and not just like the physicality and the style of play, but also the pressures, right? You're playing in France, and it's one of like Europe's bigger top 5 leagues or whatever, blah blah blah. And you might be playing for Strasbourg or Lille or a Nantes or something or whatever, and you're playing well and stuff. You come to the Premier League and you're playing in front of the biggest audiences in the world, and you're playing for the biggest clubs in the world, and you're playing for the biggest amount of money, and the biggest prizes brings the biggest amount of pressure. And I think it's a completely different thing. And I think it's similar to when you see players playing extraordinarily well for maybe mid-table or lower level in the league clubs, and then they go to a big team and it doesn't quite work. There's probably more examples of it not working than it actually working, kind of thing. It's kind of it. And I'm not saying that I think that Santos has got terrific ability, and I think he could develop his game very much, but I think that he's 2 or 3 years away from being able to start in a midfield that's capable of winning the Premier League, that's for sure.
But to be fair, when we saw him against Burnley away and who else was he good? Wolves.
We was all average today.
Wolves in the cup as well, and Burnley away. I thought he was good. Like every time he's actually started, he's had good numbers.
He was poor against Leeds, in fairness, but I think ultimately he's a young kid. He's 21 years of age. Like he's new to the Premier League. It's going to take a little bit of time. I've been reasonably impressed by what I've seen from. But Alex, remember what you said today when someone asked him how different it is from France to the Premier League.
Yeah,
and he said it was so different and so much more difficult. Like people don't understand. I know it might sound like a bit of a sort of a textbook kind of excuse, but it is actually a legit thing that the leagues are so different. They do take so much getting used to in terms of different style of play, different way of playing, different intensity. And when you're like 21 years old, you haven't played a lot of first team football. That takes some getting used to. So look, I think Maresca's managing him well. I don't think there can be any complaints about Reece getting the nod over him for the last few games. But Santos will start games in midfield. We've got loads of games coming up. He'll play Tuesday night. He'll play more games in the league across this busy period. And it's just about him making the most of those opportunities. But I think when he does play alongside a Caicedo, for example, in the midfield, he will look a lot better.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I suppose my issue with Santos is people have said that he played well against Burnley and he played well against Wolves, and like that might be the case. But I suppose for me, it's all well and good playing well against Wolves and against Burnley. But if you're going to be a Chelsea player and you're going to compete for major titles, you need to play well against Arsenal and Liverpool and Real Madrid and Barcelona. And I don't think Santos is ready for that. I'm not saying I don't think he ever will be. At the moment, he hasn't developed into the player that he needs to be to fulfill
I don't think defensively like there's any problems with him right now. I think it's more technically in that final third or on the ball. I just don't think. I think Maresca just prefers Reece in the midfield compared to Santos, because we've seen Santos. He's able to sort of deploy that destroyer role in terms of he's just very good at tackling. He's putting some very good blocks late in games. It's more, I think, on the ball where he's just maybe not trusted as much as Reece. But I think also it's tough though for players who are in and out of the side. I think it's tough to get a good representation of them if they're not starting a run of, 3 or 5 games, something like that. It's always tough for players like that to come into the side and immediately perform. That's why, I think it's hard to judge him straight away. But let's hope we see him in the next couple of weeks.
Scott, mate, I mean, I saw you looking as if you might have something to say. What do you think about Santos and that whole situation?
I just think he's been treated a little bit unfairly in terms of, like, you can tell there's not the level of trust. I think there's that case with a lot of players, or not a lot, but some of the players in this team. And all managers have this, so I'm not surprised that Maresca does this as well, but you can definitely tell with some players, they have almost as much rope to do what they want with, right? But other players, one mistake, one bad game, and you're not seeing them again for 3-4 games. And so the talk about Santos I find hard to agree with in terms of he's not performing or he's not developing the right way, when he has some good games, then has a bad game against Leeds, he's then not seen for the next 3 games outside of a 30-minute bench appearance. And like you can say he's going to play against Cardiff, that's cool. I don't care. Like really, he won't play, or at least won't start against Newcastle. He then won't start against Villa, I would assume. Then we go to a period of like we get to January and whatnot, and like so these chances for him to play, we're in the period where he needed to play, and he played no minutes against Atalanta. He played no minutes against. Oh, sorry, he obviously played against Leeds. He played no minutes against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
He then plays, like, was it 30 minutes against Everton? Was good. Like, had a couple moments where he gave the ball away sloppily, but for the most part was good. And I say all this to say, when I'm watching someone in his position put in for 4 straight games, or be for 4 straight games, arguably the worst player on the pitch for us, I find it hard to talk about Santos in a sense of he's not developing the right way. Because I want to see him play in midfield with a Reece or with a Caicedo, or when the guy in front of him is performing like he is and is not being rested when he should be and will play every single minute. I just want to see more from Santos, like in terms of Santos being given more of a chance. And it's the same with Hato. It's just Hato's a little bit different because the guy in front of him is performing on a weekly basis. But yeah, like I just find it hard with Santos because you can tell that there is a player in there when he's utilised in the right way, not as a number 10 like he was against Forest. I just don't think he's been given the opportunities. I looked in terms of his minutes. He's played about 764 minutes, which equates to in the 17 games he's played about 45 minutes a game.
That's your point.
I mean,
that you were making, Scott, about players that come into the side, like obviously like not the second fiddle players, but obviously like the players like Hato, Santos. As soon as they play like one bad performance, they're out the side for like 3-4 games. Same with Estevao. He had that not great performance against Leeds away. I think that's more of a case of drip feeding him into the side. But it's players like Santos and Hato, they have a bad performance, or like a Gittins, let's say, and they just don't see the pitch. And that, I feel like in terms of the players, that wouldn't help the confidence of the players. Obviously, I think Maresca's managed the players pretty well this season. That's one thing I wanted to touch on. That I just don't think that at times you have like a Hato bad performance against Karabag, and we just haven't seen him. Achampong as well. He hasn't really even been bad, but he hasn't even seen the pitch that much. He was good against Atalanta away, and he just doesn't see the pitch. Those small things are slightly confusing, I think.
I mean, he's interesting comment by NW as well.
Sorry.
Just 1 second, Warren. Just interesting comment. I mean, do we agree with this? Do you think that just because Hato's been playing alongside Tosin, people think that he's not good? Because it's the same with Chalobah. As soon as he's played with a competent partner, he's been fine.
Against Karabag, he was alongside Tosin, but it doesn't matter who you're alongside. Like, he made basic errors that had got nothing to do with who's playing alongside him.
The point I agree with you, Charlie. The point I would make on NW's comment is, and this is again the issue with Maresca in terms of trust. You can't tell me in that game that Tosin was worse than Hato, and Tosin has played
he wasn't.
multiple games after that game. Hato has played none. He hasn't played a game since Karabag. Any minutes. He wasn't even on the bench against Arsenal. Now, I don't expect him to play against Arsenal, but like when you're playing some other teams like Leeds and whatnot, you could give him minutes. Like, it's not like we bought a kid, by the way, in terms of Hato that has played like 10 games before he joined us. He played over 100 games before he joined us. He's been, I think this is his 3rd year or 4th year of professional football. Like, he's played a decent amount of minutes so far. And you've got a player in Kukurea who's quite clearly starting to look exhausted. Play him. Even if it's off the bench, right? Like, that's better than nothing. I'm talking about Santos getting minutes off the bench. Hato doesn't even get that. He hasn't played since Karabag, and I'm seeing Tosin make appearances. That's where it's like, that's egregious to me.
So let's go on Tosin again. I mean, Charlie, we'll talk about him because we've got to talk about Robert Sanchez as well. Just for the sake of what Michael said when we were taking the pictures. But Michael, who was with us, he went up to Robert Sanchez and he was like, "Do you like your new chant?" And Sanchez was like, "What?" He was like, "Do you not like your new chant?" He was like, "What chant?" And he was like, what did he say? He said, everyone's got a chant about you. And I was like, don't sing it, Michael. Don't do it. Do not do it. And he didn't, to be fair, but it was a bit awkward. But yeah, moving on from that, Tosin was there, and I was like, shit, man, I'm going to ask him for a picture. I was like, head down. Can you sign my ball, please? Yeah, selfie. Cheers, mate. Honestly, yeah, that is a bit two-faced. I'll be honest with you. We were a little bit two-faced, weren't we, Charlie?
Well,
come on, mate. We've been slating the guy. And
oh,
then
we don't hate him. We just weren't not massive fans of his footballing ability.
No, it's true. But why are we asking him for a picture then and asking him to
Well,
sign
because mate, they're all walking down the line. You can't say no.
I mean, I did it with Sterling 2 years ago, mate.
Oh, yeah, but mate, we even got photos of like the 5th choice goalkeeper. We didn't even know who he was.
No, I didn't ask them for signatures. Just a picture.
It's like the ultra.
I've never had a picture taken with a Chelsea player ever.
Never.
On the occasions that I've been fortunate enough to meet Chelsea players, which was probably a little bit more regularly back in the 90s, it was just something my dad instilled in me. My dad always said that they will never remember a random fan, but they'll always remember the fan that didn't ask for a picture or a signature, or a signature as it was back then. So it was just something stupid that he probably didn't even like. My dad said it and probably didn't even believe it. Probably never thought it once again for the rest of his life. It was just something that stuck in my head. Be the person they remember for not being like everybody else, basically.
I respect that. I think the players probably really appreciate that as well, to be fair, because they must get a lot.
Don't get me wrong, I still annoy the shit out of them. I do worse than ask for a picture, but like,
what would you do?
It depends.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
It's like the Leon Ultras who like shout at the players. They get the whole team in front and they just
that's
shout.
European culture.
Who would lead Matthew Harding then? Who would lead Matthew Harding? Father? I mean, he's at the bottom, isn't he?
You?
No,
I'm a little bit too high up. Do you think Father's telling all the players off? Who else is quite far?
He just
Matty Duff.
Yeah.
Matt's not a season ticket holder, so 1 week he'll be in the shed, then he'll be, Nina's at the front, if I'm not wrong. Terry Komatsu, if I'm not wrong.
Mate, he could do it, yeah.
So big up to Terry Komatsu. If you don't know, he moved all the way from, I think it was Japan, just to follow Chelsea.
With a name like Komatsu, he would be Japanese.
Yeah. But just back on Tosin, I mean, we asked him if he'll start against Cardiff. He said, I hope so. So
he's going to start.
I think he will start. I mean, I know you're not happy about that, Charlie. You said he should never play for us again.
Yeah, but we do say things that we don't mean. Well, we sort of maybe rode back slightly on after the event.
I think Charlie's right though. We don't have a choice unless you want Gusto to play for like the 3rd or 4th 90-minute game in a row, or Reece James, which I don't, because we need those guys for actually important games. Because like even with Tosin, we should still beat Cardiff. Like all respect to Cardiff and big up for being first in League One, but you're first in League One. You can have Tosin in the team and like be fine. Unless what are you going to play Genesis Antwi maybe? Like unless you're going to do that, like cool, I guess. And put Josh at centre back, but like there isn't.
You could argue you play Achampong, Chalobah, and Badia Shield.
No, Chalobah needs a rest. Like again, he's playing multiple games in a row.
He starts every game pretty much. Chalobah.
Yeah.
What do we think about that? Can we touch on that about like I read a post the other day about the Iron Man that was John Hollins, who played 167 consecutive games for Chelsea in league, cups, and competitions from 71 to 74. There was very minimal rotation. There was hardly any substitutions. They didn't play on carpets. They played on sand beaches. They used to kick the shit out of each other. They didn't have luxury travel to and from games. They used to actually cover more distance because the game wasn't played with short passes. The ball was played long, they had to chase it, and then it get kicked back, and they used to have to chase it back, and they'd do that running on a sand mud pitch. And he played 167 games in a row without injury and without complaint. And now all of a sudden, players can't play 2 high intensity games in a week. Do we not just feel like we're being? Are we pandering to them? Are we like letting them get away with this by saying, "Oh yeah, it must be like"? Because I'm sorry, Oliver Glasner doesn't change his team very often, and he hasn't quite got the £4 billion team that we've got, and they're 5th in the Premier League and FA Cup holders and doing very well in Europe. Thank you very much, and they make very little changes. Why do we have to?
I mean, how many injuries do they have?
Sorry.
How many injuries do they
I
have?
don't think they have that many.
I mean, Palace have got no squad depth though. That's one of the reasons why.
So they're like one or two injuries away from
they still play
disaster.
very well, but they still play very well every week. Do we really need to make 6 changes because we're playing 2 games?
I agree to a certain extent. I don't disagree with the rotation principle or the policy. My issue is twofold, right? Is one, when it's way too many changes to the defense. That for me, that I haven't got issues with the rotation, but it's when you change sort of
the balance,
the whole
right?
back 4 or the 3 of the
it's
back
the balance.
and then,
That's what
and then when you're shoehorning players into what wouldn't be their natural position. Like, if you're going to rotate, I've got no issue with it. Do like for like stuff. But my thing is just don't make too many changes at the back. Because I think, like, for example, Tuesday night, right? I think we all know that like, if you include the goalkeeper, call it a back 5, I think we probably know that there's a high chance definitely 4 of the back 5 will change, maybe even the whole lot. And
I think it will be Sanchez will change. I think it'll be Enchampong and Hato and I think pretty much all of it.
The whole lot will change. And like maybe against one side you can get away with that potentially. I don't
mind that against Cardiff. It's when we do it against Atlanta away when we need a result because we've dropped points against
or like Newcastle in the cup last season as well.
Yeah, I think we more just couldn't be arsed with that game. I think that was
I think that was
mindset was more wrong with it.
But I can accept that if we're going to say, right, the top, like last season, if we're going to say, or even this season, that the top 4 pushing for the title in Europe and the FA Cup is more important. So, we are going to take risks in the Carabao Cup. Then, change 8 or 9 players. And if you're going to, I said this last time, when you've got sort of Leeds, Bournemouth and Everton coming up, rather than making 6 changes for Leeds and 7 changes for Atlanta, maybe make, like, it's that balance that we were just saying there, Charlie. Maybe make a couple of changes per match so that you don't upset the.
I think what this further highlights really is that ultimately we do not have the quality and depth. I think, like, we've got. There's no doubt about it. We've got more options available to us than we did last season, but we don't have. I'm not saying we had more quality last season, but we've got more options available, but the options we have aren't of the highest quality. I almost think that the manager would actually prefer to have less options but more quality, and so maybe he's making 3 or 4 changes, but the players coming in are of a much higher quality, so the drop-off's not as bad. Like, you talk like this whole thing about the rotation policy is kind of like not enforced by the club, but it's very much welcomed. It's very much backed by the club. And then he makes the changes. He makes the changes, and we like for Leeds. I know he's taking responsibility for Leeds, and fair play, respects him for coming out and being honest about that. He got it wrong. But that again is another one where you're like, him admitting he's got it wrong is also saying that actually, do you know what, guys, you've not given me a good enough squad to do the rotation that I need to do, and that you want as well, and get the results whilst doing it, because you've not given me a good enough squad to be able to make the changes that I need to make in order to still pick up results. So I think it's a twofold issue. Some games he's got it wrong and made too many changes, but it also highlights the fact that, as I said, we talked about this in the summer as well, the squad's not got enough quality in it. It just doesn't.
I mean, I will say
I just think it doesn't help as well. I would say I don't think it helped. I agree with Charlie. The squad doesn't have anywhere near enough quality into, like, for you to do the rotation in some areas that you need to do and then not do rotation in other areas. I also think it doesn't help as well. Like, you go for our squad in terms of our best players or our core players. Reece, injury prone. Like, the game yesterday was the first time in I don't know how long he's completed 3 90 minutes in a row.
That's big. That
Fofana, injury prone. He's our best centre back. I think Levi Cole being out makes this worse because those games, that Leeds, for example, right, that Leeds, Bournemouth, and Atalanta trio, he starts every single one of those games if he's fit, and then you just rotate who's next to him. You can't do that because he's not fit, and Fofana can't play all 3 of those games 90 minutes, or he maybe can, but you don't want to risk it. Look what just happened with Ben White for Arsenal. Just came back from injury, played 2 games in a row in the space of 3 days, has done his hamstring. He's probably out for multiple months now. Maybe if it's that serious, the whole season. For no reason. For literally no reason. Obviously, I think Lavia would be a key part in this team in terms of being a key rotation piece for either Caicedo or Enzo. He's basically just he's just injured all the time. So you look at these guys and it's like, they can't. These are guys in our team that would be starting every single week because also Reece being out or Reece having to go in midfield to cover for either of our backup midfielders being injured. I mean, Gusto has to play every week, 90 minutes.
If Lavia was fit, Reece James and Gusto would basically
which means
they'd hardly ever have to play central midfield because Lavia would be
100%.
Right?
Which means in the games against the Leeds or in the games against a Cardiff or whoever, those I don't want to say lesser games, but the teams where you can afford to rotate, you've got Gusto playing in that. And obviously, I think he played against Leeds anyway. But it's like you're getting a Gusto. Yeah, you're getting a Gusto that's fully ready to play. Hasn't just come off a 90 minutes the week before or 45 minutes the week before, 3 days earlier. I think that's part of the issue as well. And so much of this issue comes down to the same thing, and it is also a quality thing of just the way the squad's been constructed, as is everything with this club at the moment. But like, so that the rotation is needed also because the amount of games teams are playing and players are playing at the moment is nuts. I think JC said it earlier. Cucurella, I think, has not had a summer off. Obviously, we had the Club World Cup this summer. The summer before, he had the Euros, and I think also
it's World Cup this summer.
The World Cup this summer. Enzo would have had the Copa America as well. What's it called? I think just before the Club World Cup as well, they played the Nations League, so he would have come off that. Yeah. In terms of guys like Neto and Cucurella, like there is not like the first time these guys are going to get an extended break is in 2 years' time, 2 summers time. 2027 is the first time that some of these players are going to get an actually extended break for the summer in terms of a full summer off, a full proper preseason where it's going to be heavily rotated anyway. Like that's insane. So like I understand the rotation now. The rotation needs to be better in terms of your choice of player sometimes, rather than the actual rotation itself. So, like for example, you don't need to see Tosin.
I think there's too many changes per game. That's my main issue. It's when
just to touch on that, Warren. You can respond to this if you want, because this sort of goes in quite nicely. So obviously we know what Maresca said. He was angry after the game, which surprised me in a way. But this is what Ben Jacobs tweeted to give people a little bit more context on why Maresca might have been angry. He said the Chelsea boss is believed to understand the logic of Chelsea's rotation policy and also wants to ease the burden on certain players. But when the chopping and changing backfires, including the loss to Leeds, he feels he's being scapegoated, often via the media. Despite rotation being a core part of Chelsea's strategy, something that's encouraged, not something that's just done out of necessity. Maresca also had to deal with the long-term absence of Levi Colwell due to an ACL injury, and has said publicly he wanted another defender over the summer, but Chelsea's recruitment team decided against it, and Cole Palmer has been absent with a groin injury in recent weeks, while Moises Caicedo missed the Everton game. Maresca feels like when form dips, those mitigating circumstances aren't always appreciated. Let's just let Warren respond because he was going to speak before.
That's what we've been saying, though. That literally comes down to, by the way, I'm on board with this rotation policy. You've not given me a good enough squad to do that. Once again, highlighting that he wanted a centre-back in the summer. He didn't get one, and we need one. You know, we haven't had Palmer for most of the season. He wanted someone to come in for that. They got him Buonanotte on loan, who hasn't. I can't remember when the last time he even played football.
He's played 45 minutes in the league, by the way.
He literally played against Brentford in September. That's the only minutes he's played in the league. So this is what. Sorry, I was getting to you. But it's what it comes down to. He's not happy with the way the squad's been put together.
I said all that without my lips moving.
Go on, Warren, go on.
No. To be fair, like Charlie's made a couple of points that I would have made there. To be fair, like so, well articulated. I agree with some of the points that he made there. I suppose for me, right. So I want to make it clear that I am a Maresca supporter, right, and not just because he's our manager. Even if it was like so, Rafael Benitez hated him, supported him as our manager because I support the team. But I actually do appreciate Maresca as a manager, and I think that it's a very important point to make that a lot of people forget that when Colwell got injured in the summer, he was like, for me, I would go and buy someone. I've been told to find I've been told to find a solution. Internal solution, right? So I do believe that he was quite vocal about that. And I also believe, and this kind of goes back to like my original point when I was talking about like John Hollins, and we can talk about Frank Lampard playing 160 consecutive games, missing one game, and then playing 100 plus games consecutively again, just as recently as like the mid 2000s, right? That I don't think Maresca is being helped by the players. I think that the players have been given an excuse by certain managers over the years, namely people like Mourinho and Klopp and Guardiola and Arteta and managers like that. I think that players have been given an excuse. They've been given a get out of jail free card that if they play well in a game and then they start the next game and don't play very well, it's like, oh, we've been overplayed and blah, blah, blah. I think that Maresca's being done out by the players sometimes, not just Chelsea players. I'm not naming players specifically. I just mean generally in terms of the culture of the generation of footballers that we've got and the prima donnas and high maintenance bitches that they can be, and we all know that they can be. And I think that they're using that as an excuse. And yeah, I think that I don't think that's Maresca's fault. I think that it's part of his job to motivate players, but at the same time, when you've got a generation of players, what you can't change a generation's mindset, right? You can sort of affect what you've got. And I think Maresca's doing a terrific job. I think that he's got players playing really well. We talked about the marked improvement of Gusto. We look at Cucurella and Caicedo and Fernandes when they first came into the club, some of them under different managers, and how well they've progressed under Maresca. I think he's a top manager. Potential to be a top manager. He's not a top manager yet. He's got the potential to be a top manager, and I'm really enjoying the way that he's taking Chelsea forward. And yeah, I do agree with Maresca. I think that he's been, I don't want to say thrown under the bus because I don't want to get all sad about the situation, but I do think that he's been left out, hung out to dry in terms of what Charlie said, not getting the backing, finding internal solutions. And he's found internal solutions, because when a Champong has come in and other people have come in, they haven't been the worst performing players. Do you know what I mean? So,
and that's the thing is,
100%, really do.
That's the thing as well. What's the point in when people don't back Maresca? I just don't see the point in, if they were the people who say Maresca out. I mean, I know there's a couple people who say that after a bad run of performances and stuff. It just makes no sense, because the same problems will appear with every single manager. It's like he's having. We've seen it with Poch as well, the lack of squad depth. We've seen it with Maresca at times as well, just a lack of quality when we rotate and when we play the second, or so-called second team, or the less important players. So I think that it's the same problems that will appear. Obviously, I think Maresca, we as fans, we do like to see him be a bit smarter, just read the game a bit better, be a bit more proactive with his subs, his decisions in game. That's the thing.
See, I like that about him.
Yeah.
So, sorry to cut you in. Yeah, I like that about him. I like the fact that sometimes he will change things at half time. I quite enjoy that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Sorry to cut you in.
Charlie, I think you're on mute, by the way.
That's something he's got better at, though, because that was something last season that he was criticised quite a lot for, not being proactive with the subs, always too late. Now there's an improvement where if the first half's terrible, He'll make a couple of changes at halftime, like Nottingham Forest away, for example. Dreadful first half. He makes 2 changes at halftime. There's multiple occasions this season where he's made changes at halftime to switch things up and help get us a result. But then there'll also be moments in games, and he obviously has got better for sure, but there's also moments in games where he will still kind of wait too long to make a sub. He's definitely got better, and on the whole, he does get the subs right more times than not, but there are occasions where he does still get things wrong. I think we just have to accept, unfortunately, that players aren't going to get it right all the time and play well every game, and the manager's not going to get it right every time either.
Yeah.
Hey, big up to everyone. We've got over 750 people on all platforms, so big up to all of you. If you haven't smashed the like button on YouTube as well, please do. It makes a big difference. We've almost got 200 of you. We haven't even reached 100 likes. Come on, guys. Smash that like button if you haven't already. And make sure you check out everyone else as well. Check out Charlie's channel, check out Thomas, check out Warren. We'll go through all of their socials as well later on. So, I mean, in terms of rotation, guys, I think that we're all pretty much on the same page. Nothing wrong with rotation. I guess there's just a way to do it. I think, Warren, maybe you're slightly more, to be honest, most older fans that I speak to, like we had the same conversation in Bournemouth. I couldn't understand it, to be honest with you, because they were saying, play James again, play Fofana again. And I was like, but what happens if they get injured?
Do you know what? I was about to say, do you know what's funny, Alex? Sorry to cut you. Those same fans will be the first fans on Maresca's neck when those guys get injured because they're playing 90s every week.
Yeah,
They'll be the same fans.
I'd like to say that the last, even as an older fan, thank you, Alex, thank you very much. even as an older fan,
Old and wise.
And I said this on the last show, that the way that Maresca has managed people like James and even people like Fofana, and unfortunately it hasn't worked with Lavia, the job that the medical staff of Maresca have done with the likes of James and managing his time. I think that the question of rotation and the question of Reece James are two completely separate things. Yeah. And I think that the way that Maresca has handled James has been absolutely peak management.
And do you know what as well, mate? Like, it's so refreshing now as well that we've got this approach, because how many times, like under Tuchel, under Pochettino, have players been rushed back? Yeah, have players been rushed back when they're clearly not ready to play. You might get a couple games out of them and then they're injured again for months. Now we're in a situation where I think a lot more thoughts going into it. I think there's a lot more communication between the medical departments, performance departments, and the coaching staff and the manager. And this is one thing where I'm more than happy with having a long-term approach. You know, we're looking at it. Well, we don't just want him fit for a couple games and then injured again. If they have to miss more games to begin with to be available for a longer period of time later, then that's good. And that's something for me that I think has been a massive improvement under this manager. And it's something that we need to continue long into the future, whether it's Maresca still here or whoever it is, because ultimately, you're only as good as the players you've got available. And if you're not looking after the players properly, then you're fucked, basically.
Go on, Scott.
100%. And I think just on the rotation, just to divert it ever so slightly back to the match yesterday, I think part of the issue with rotation, and this is why ultimately the rotation that happens in this team almost doesn't matter to a point, is because we can talk about rotation and talk about some of the squad options and if they're good enough and whatever. We have starters in this team right now that are not good enough to be at this football club, full stop.
Go on, name the name.
Garnacho. I'm just going to say it. No one can convince me he's good enough to be at this football club. No one can convince me.
Are you talking about as a player or
at the moment?
As a player, as a Gittins as well, but he is a squad player at the moment. He is actually he is the backup. No one will ever convince me Garnacho is good enough to play for this football club. Will ever convince me.
But that's the problem in itself.
Let's not get his point across.
And even Delap, when he was playing, no one can convince me right now he's anywhere close to being good enough to play for this football club. Joao Pedro right now doesn't look like he's good enough to start for us on a consistent basis. So trying to add the rotation into that as well, trying to then rotate some of these guys out. If they're not good enough to start and they're the starters, the backups have no hope. Have absolutely no hope. If I'm watching Joao Pedro do nothing for 90 minutes most weeks and he's the starter, if Delap's worse than him, theoretically speaking, in terms of I would hope that the backup is not as good as the starter, otherwise that's just kind of backwards. If he's worse than the starter who's not performing every week, he's got no hope. He's none. He has no hope of performing against the teams we're playing against because he can't perform at this level if he's worse than the guy who isn't performing against those kind of teams as well. He has not put in multiple good performances. He's played one good performance since he's been here. And it was
very harsh.
Yeah, multiple's pushing.
Multiple is pushing. He's had one. I will concede two, maybe.
Was very good. Wolves at home.
Wolves.
That's
the only good when he come off the bench against Atalanta.
It was good.
And I thought he was probably one of our best outfield players against Bournemouth.
It was good against Karabag.
But I think as well, by the way, just
on the
against just on the attack in general, slightly diverting. I think there is an issue that despite the money spent, despite the turnover of players, we still only have one reliable source of goals in the final third, and that's Cole Palmer. There's not really anyone else. I know the goals have been spread about. I know the goals have been spread about a little bit, and that's what the rest was looking for.
Do we think a lot of that is because Cole Palmer hasn't been in the team? Obviously, right? So again, still being reliant on Palmer, as you're saying, Charlie. But do you not think that the reason we haven't been able to rely on a Joao Pedro or a Liam Delap when he's been in the team is potentially because our main creative link hasn't been there? We built our team around Palmer in there, didn't we?
I think that's a fair point. It's a fair point, and it's definitely definitely part of the reason. But I still also Palmer will make those lads play better. He'll create more chances for them. He'll find their runs and whatnot. But like they still need to have.
They haven't been good enough without him. They need to be better without him.
But they still need to have the finishing quality, though. Palmer playing behind them is going to help them, but it's not going to help them put the ball in the back of the net. They get more opportunities to do it, but it's not going to improve their finishing. I just think the issue for me is that Neto's done well this season. I do like him, but in terms of everyone else, like the wide players, like the players outside Palmer basically aren't contributing enough in terms of goals. Neto's output this season's massively improved, and he deserves credit for that. But generally speaking, if you're going through the names in the attack and you say who is a reliable source of goals, you are only saying Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
100%.
But you could say that about a single player for most teams, right?
I think the difference is, and it's what I was going to say off the back of what you said, Warren. I think what the game yesterday highlighted more than any other game, because it's the first game we've properly had since Palmer's been back.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of expecting what you said. I was expecting Palmer comes back in, or what I was told actually about certain players. Palmer comes back in, their level will raise just because he is a level raiser for the team, right? Like he's going to raise the level of Neto, of Delap, of all these guys, right? Neto is the only attacker yesterday whose level raised with Cole Palmer being the team. Yeah, Pedro and Garnacho might as well have. They might as well not play. Like their level didn't raise an iota with Palmer being in the team. So he's our best player in terms of attacking, definitely, arguably in the whole team. He's should be that level raiser, and you can see he's on a different way. Like you see with the goal that he scores, he's just on a different wavelength to everything else of everyone else. Like his understanding of like where he needs to be, understanding of everything is just completely different to everyone else. Like, and especially in the attack, if he can't raise your level, you got no hope.
One game.
There's no hope. I understand it's one game, 100%, but for there to have been absolutely no improvement from those guys, I thought was kind of like,
shit. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to.
It's also a case.
I'm not going to try and defend it.
One at a time. Go on. Okay. Yeah, I think it's also a case of if you've got like, let's look at our wingers. If you've got someone. Like, if you got two wingers and one of them, if both of them are not good enough in terms of quality-wise, one of them won't raise, like, you need to have someone who sets the standard, and then that squad option or that backup option, their standard will be raised, or for me, in my opinion, their quality will be better if you have someone to not mold your game off, but someone to look up to and someone who shows the standards. For me, that's what you need in a team, and that's why it's vital to have in each position. Or obviously in the attack you're more likely to have younger players, but you need to have people with more experience and just more quality, because then that backup option, you know that they'll be looking up to that player who's starting every single week, and they'll be able to look up and see what they're doing, and because they set the example. It's like with Bayern, for example. Look at their options up front. You got Kane, Elise, and Luis Diaz, and then after that, I'm not sure who they got on the left after, but they got that Carl guy who's really good.
Is it like
they got Musiala, they got Coleman now, but they've got good quality.
Yeah, exactly, but that's my point, is that if you have someone like Garnacho and Gittins on the left, not one of them is the outstanding winger. So both of them just don't have good enough quality.
But that's the point, though. Like, one of them should have been signed, and a more established player should have been signed. And so then the Garnacho or the Gittins can be the guy that starts on a Wednesday.
We all know about the experience thing. Joe Cole's been saying it for a year and a half, hasn't he? They've all said
it.
One at a time, guys, because people can't hear us if we speak over each other. People can't understand what we're saying. Go on, Warren. Go on.
No. Sorry, Charlie was halfway through.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
It's hot potato now.
Tommy them, because he's been sat there quietly. So has Scott. So please take the floor, gentlemen. Please.
No, go on, Scott.
Don't be scared to speak now.
It's not an experience thing; it's a quality thing. Like, I'm not expecting us to sign 30-year-olds and it's suddenly fixed. But I'm saying, like, you could have gone and signed Leao, who's like 22, and he'd have been a far better player, a far better signing for that left wing than either Gittins or Garnacho to help us with what we need now. So the experience thing, I don't agree with. I know a lot of people go to experience. It's not experience, right? Experience will help in certain things, but it's not to be all. It's the quality. Like, it's that like just quality is what it is. Like, the quality of the guys we signed is not good.
I agree with that, but but going back to like the experience point of view, right? Now, I agree with you. Some people think, because Joe Cole said that Chelsea need an experienced head sometimes, people think, like you've just sort of touched upon there, people think, oh, I'll go out and sign 2 30-year-olds and all of a sudden we're going to win the league. No, of course we're not. But I do think that when you said Rafael Leao there, even though he is young, he's somebody that's probably played 200, 250 Serie A games and probably 30, 40 European games and 20, 30. So even though he is young, we're not signing somebody who's played 80 games. We're signing somebody who's played 280 games. And I think that, I think that could help fill little gaps here and there. Do I think it's going to make the difference and make us Premier League champions and to win the Champions League? No, not necessarily. But I think it can help us on the way there.
I mean, I'll just interject with. I mean, I think Leao's the wrong profile because he doesn't track back. So, I mean, that's why I don't think he would.
Neither does
Even his salary is still brilliant, isn't he?
Neither does Garnacho, really. So, like, I don't care.
Garnacho's been okay, actually. I haven't had a massive issue with Garnacho. He's covering some ground. No, he is covering ground, mate.
He did that yesterday.
Ground yesterday.
As in defensively, did he help at all yesterday?
He was not that good.
I don't see a moment where I was like, oh, he was terrible.
Okay. For me,
Garnacho is pretty average at defending, but I think he puts in a better shift than Gittins. So that's one of the reasons why he'll start ahead of.
Shouldn't we be good enough?
I think that's one of the reasons he's starting is because you know what you're going to get from Garnacho.
And Alex, this is what you're going to get. This is what we were discussing yesterday, mate. Like whether people like it or not, the reason why someone like a Garnacho is starting regularly in this team over an Estevao, maybe not so much a Gittins, or the reason why Garnacho starts right is because in this day and age, yes, we all want the stuff going forward, and ultimately what a winger does going forward and what they do in a final third really matters. But so does what the other way. So does your ball retention. So does what you do from a defensive standpoint. And Estevao, as much as we like him, I'm a massive fan of his. He's going to be a top player. We saw one moment yesterday when he come off the bench. He was trying to dribble around some Everton players. He loses the ball in our half and Everton go and have an attack. That 20, 30-second moment there is the reason why he's not starting more games at the moment. And whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it, that's the reality right now, is that you have to be like, you've got wingers getting in the team who are better in terms of retaining the ball and in terms of the defensive side of the game. And that is viewed as more valuable in the modern game, whether we agree or not.
But don't you think that the fans also, they want to see their winger take on their man? And that's why, like, I almost feel like, exactly. And that's the thing, like, Estevao,
I don't care what the fans think, though.
But no, I'm saying, like, for example, Estevao, it was a counter attack. If he doesn't take on his man and he just plays it back, I'm sure the fans are like sighing in the crowd and they're like shouting at him, saying like, "Why are you not taking on your man?" But he loses the ball trying to take on his man. It's like,
can I make a point? Can I make a point? Right, Haaland can track back if he wants to. Salah can track back if he wants to. Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, Lionel Messi back in the day, Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, Ronaldinho. They could track back if they wanted to. If you're that good, you can do whatever you want and you make room for them in the team. I take Charlie's point on board. I don't think we've got anybody that's quite at that level yet that has the luxury of being able to say, no, I can do what I want. You know, like Eden Hazard, like walking around with his hands in his shorts with his shoelaces undone, right? That kind of thing. We haven't got a player that's achieved that standard consistently, right? So nobody has the right to do that at the minute. And I take your point on board about that, Charlie. But do you know what? If Estevao makes a mistake going forward, I don't care. I want him to be the person who's...
I do agree with that, yeah.
I want him to be doing it. And do you know what? If he gives the ball away and doesn't track back, I'm going to sigh more at what Tommy was saying there about when he's got the opportunity to beat a player and he comes back and passes inside to Caicedo and they make another 55 passes. I'd rather him give the ball away trying. Get it wrong, trying to do the right thing.
I was going to say, Warren, I'm so glad you said that as well, because the perfect game to use this as an example, West Ham. No, Watford. West Ham. You could argue he was at fault for the goal we conceded in terms of he has a moment where he doesn't trap the ball or like he goes to like do a movement, gets caught, they score from it. But guess what he does? He's then for the rest of the game excellent, gets an assist as well for one. So I care way more about that rather than watching two guys on the left hand side, or one guy on the left hand side just want to retain the ball and want to like not do anything with it, not want to beat his team.
Garnacho has a lot of chances. He misses the chances, but eventually you're hoping he's going to convert.
Alex,
so
you know why I don't care about that? No one cared when that was Noni. No one cared when that was Noni. No one cared when that was Woodrick.
Noni was different in the sense that we thought he could get to different heights. I think we all appreciate that Garnacho is a squad player. Even I accept that. You know, and I like the signing of Garnacho. I liked it. I think we could have paid less. I wanted us to pay less. I think that all in all, it was a fair deal, not a great deal, not a terrible deal.
I'd rather have signed Gurhey.
I would have preferred Gurhey as well. I'm not defending the fact that we didn't sign a centre back, or if we want to talk about a goalkeeper, I'm not defending that. But I'm just saying specifically on Garnacho, I don't mind him as a player, and I think that he gets an awful lot of stick. And there's a point where you can defend him, and I'm still at that point where I am defending him because at some point it has to click, and it will either click or it won't. And it's the same with Gittins. You've got two players that I go, they're all right, they're fine. I think Garnacho is a better player than Gittins. I would argue that Gittins has a bigger ceiling than Garnacho. I think that naturally the way he's able to strike the ball at times, he just looks a little bit more talented. But for me, Garnacho just has something unique about him, something different. And you know, he gets into position. No, but it's something different.
I think Garnacho sees the byline.
He's a stable winger that tries to get into position to score goals and tries to create. It doesn't come off all the time. Fair enough. I'm not sitting here saying, you know, he's going to do a million step overs and it's sexy to watch like when Estevao's on the ball. It's nothing like that. But I think people have to appreciate the profile that Garnacho is, and they have to. If you're gonna give patience to Joao Pedro, if you're gonna give patience to Delap, if you're gonna give patience to all these other guys, you've got to do the same with Garnacho. I don't see why people are so. I mean, it is an agenda. Ultimately, it's an agenda. That's the truth. And I know that you didn't like him from the beginning, Scott. It's the same with Lewis as well. But to say that he's only had one good game since he's played for Chelsea is so harsh.
I think he's only
harsh.
I think that ultimately I agree kind of with both of you there. But I do agree with Scott that he's only had one standout game. I do believe that he's had more moments in games than other players. I think he's had more moments in games than Gittins, and I think he's had more moments in games than Joao Pedro and Delap. I think that he's had more positive input on the team than some other players. And I think maybe the misconception is because he'd kind of been in the Man United team for sort of like 2 or 3 years, we had this kind of misconception that he was coming into the team as like an already like complete or established player that had already sort of like, you know, been consistent for a long time, and he hadn't. And we're still waiting for that. But I think ultimately he hasn't been up to standard. But I think that's true of a lot of players.
I think the bigger issue is that he's joined and he's basically been signed as a first choice when he should be a squad option. That for me, I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of other people, but I think a lot of the issue with Garnacho is because he was signed as a first choice on the left wing rather than a squad rotation player, and I think that's where a lot of the issues come from. I would expect that. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can everyone hear me?
What's going on about?
Put in the chat if you can't hear Charlie. I can hear it.
I'm dropping some serious knowledge here, and people are saying they can't hear me.
That must have been when I couldn't hear you as well. There must have been something wrong.
but the point is, I think there would be far less of an issue with Garnacho if you had someone else of a higher quality on the left wing ahead of him. So I think it's twofold, right? I agree that he's not top quality. I think there's potential there, and I think he's done a very good game against Wolves, and there's been other moments in games where he's done well. But for me, I think the larger issue stems from the fact that he is basically first choice when there should be someone better in front of him. I think that's where more of the issue lies, in my opinion.
And also, when you have someone with a bit more quality as well, that's more likely to raise the level of your Garnacho, let's say. Yeah. That's the whole point. I think when you have someone in front of you with more quality, that means that you're probably going to have more competition, and that will mean that your level will want to be raised. That's what I think.
I'm afraid we can't have translations for Charlie. So if you need to change your headphones or something like that, that might be a technical issue.
Yeah,
your end.
Or they might just be on the wind up. To be fair.
Yeah, we've had plenty of them, Charlie. Let's talk about Joao Pedro. I mean, I'll just give my opinion on this because, to be quite honest with you, I'm sick and tired of Joao Pedro. People say, why do you have a double standard for Joao Pedro? The lap. And I say, well, first of all, I didn't want him in the first place. I did want Delap. It cost twice as much. He's had more than enough game time. He's had more than enough time to get a rhythm and a chemistry. And for me, I don't know. You know, I was quiet at the beginning of the season because he was performing, but now he's not. And I'm like, after Bournemouth, I thought his attitude was poor when he came on. He's got his goal against Atalanta, and I thought, apart from that, you were fine. I just never get that opinion when I watch Joao Pedro, not in recent months at least, that I love watching this guy. I love what he's doing. It's a bit like what we're saying about Garnacho at times, maybe, where you're like, yeah, he's fine. He's okay. For me, if I'm going to give a comparison, I love a good comparison. I honestly think he's the closest thing since Kai Havertz. And that just is a player for me that can give you a little bit of link up, happy to run, and
score a couple goals.
Much else, if I'm honest with you. I don't see a player that, like, if you're trying to compete with his GA at Brighton, which was 5 pens, by the way, I honestly think Mark Guiu could do it. I think Mark Guiu could do it. Mark Guiu could get you 10 GA if he played as many minutes as Joao Pedro.
Did he not score 6 or 7 goals in the Conference League last season in like 5 games?
It's not difficult to do it.
He's playing against
the minutes and the trust and consistent game time. It's not difficult to do it. This is one of the reasons I defend Delap.
He's a real option. He's a real option.
Like, I'm not actively. I wouldn't say I hate Joao Pedro, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced by it.
I don't think he should be in the team at the minute. I think that's the bottom line. I think
you've got no other option.
I think there's been games where that's been true. Actually, yeah, there's been games where that's been true. But I think with Cole Palmer coming back into the side, and with the emergence of Estevao, and with Neto playing well, and our other options with the likes of Garnacho and Gittins, whether they're playing brilliantly or not, I think that there is definitely an opportunity to take him out of the team for a little while. And, you know, it could do him the world of good. Just because he's not playing well at the minute doesn't mean that he can't play well. But you're right. Ever since he played well against West Ham, and apart from that, it's kind of exactly the same as what Scott was saying about Garnacho. Apart from like Joao Pedro against West Ham, tell me another time that he's played well.
Yeah, no, he has struggled. He has absolutely struggled. Look, Club World Cup, he hit the ground running, great impact. Started the season well. But yeah, no, he has dropped off. I mean, he did score back-to-back against Spurs and Wolves, but generally speaking, the level of performance hasn't been where you'd expect it to be, and hasn't been anywhere near consistent enough. It's another one of those players, right? I do like him. I think he's talented, but he's one of those players, right, where another one where you don't really know where to play
his proper position
because he's not.
Does it help with Delap and Palmer in the side? Probably.
But like for example, Delap. As you mentioned in that West Ham game, Pedro's best game was probably when Palmer wasn't in the team this season in the league. In terms of the one against West Ham away, I think he scored and got 2 assists, and he played behind Delap, and it worked well. Now, obviously, it takes time to form these partnerships. Delap's been injured a lot of the season, and we haven't really played him together that much. Palmer obviously is going to play behind whoever it is up front, so it's quite difficult to get all 3 of them potentially in the same team. But I don't know. I think bare minimum though, you've got to see a lot more effort from Pedro, a lot more work rate as well. I think yesterday, right, compared to what we have seen, he was better yesterday. I felt like he was giving the centre backs more issues. He held the ball up a little bit better. We are talking basics here. But
you might have seen that more at the game on the TV. He was quite anonymous again as he usually is. That's my problem. He seems anonymous. Maybe I missed bits. Obviously, it's a different viewpoint. Obviously, being at the game, of course, it's completely different. But for me, he seemed very anonymous. I don't remember anything.
He's drifting in too many games. Like he's just not
lazy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he lazy?
No, I don't think he's
against Bournemouth. Yes, but I wouldn't say that normally. Do you know? It's interesting you say anonymous though, because he's literally supposed to be the polar opposite of that. He's supposed to be the guy that does a little bit of everything, holds the ball up, links up, basically everywhere, can score from set pieces. Like I see Joao Pedro, he's able to do a lot of things. It's not like he can't do things. He can score from long range. You saw it in the Club World Cup. He can score chips. He can score headers. He scored a nice goal against Tottenham. That was clinical.
Yeah, lovely.
It's not like the guy can't offer anything, but again, if you can't,
I like seeing him in that poach. I like seeing him in the poach. I'll get in the goal against
what he's offering at the moment. I don't understand it. I mean, what do you think, Scott?
He hasn't been good enough. I called for him to be dropped ages ago. I think the issue you've got. Say again. Do
you think he's lazy?
No, not at all. Like people saying he's lazy is nuts. Like go and watch the lap. That's lazy. Like saying Joao Pedro is lazy is like boring and ironically lazy analysis. He's just. I think he's not in good form. He's performing terribly. And like I said, I wanted him dropped ages ago. The issue you've got with Joao Pedro is there's no one else. Like he was not it. Like he was not good enough. Like I know he's 19, but like we can't have Mark Hughes starting for us on a regular basis in the Premier League. Like, all respect to Mark Hughes, bro wasn't starting for Sunderland. He still wouldn't be starting for Sunderland if he was still there.
We didn't even want him at the club this season.
Yeah, so like he's not the answer. Delap in the minutes we've seen from him has been just a complete net negative, almost in totality, since he's been at the football club from a league perspective, or since the season started. Don't care about the Club World Cup. That was in America, completely different teams we were facing, different climate, different atmosphere. Don't really care. And so, yes, like, unless you want to put Neto or Tyree George up front, which I guess, sure, there's no one else. And so, yeah, like, he needs to be dropped because the performances are not good enough. What's ironic is I think he's still our third top goal scorer in the league, which
he's got five.
He's got 4. He's got 7 GA in total in the league. He's got 4 goals, which I think, considering he's had 1 since West Ham or Fulham, maybe, which is what, like, our 6th game of the season, is funny. But yeah, like he's not been good enough, but there's no other options, and this comes back to what we said earlier, like
squad planning.
Yeah. Who'd you put in ahead of him? We put Neto up front again? For sure, I guess. Maybe.
I guess this is one of the things about having so much versatility is when you look on, at James and Gusto, players like that, Cucurella, Neto, love Neto. These are players that are useful. You've got a position that you'd prefer them in, but they can cover in other ways as well. But then I'm going, what is Joao Pedro's best position? So it's not like he plays in the 10, but if need be, he can be a striker, or he plays as a striker, but he can be the 10. We're basically saying he's not good enough to be a 10 every week. He's not good enough to be a striker every week. For me, I don't understand it at all. Like, I know you don't like players like Garnacho, Scott, but at least I know Garnacho's a left winger. At least I know that's.
No. We know what thing he is at this point. He's not a 10. He's like he has to be a striker in this team to if he's going to play. Is where it's at with Joao Pedro.
Yeah, but people, they're flip-flopping so much about what his favourite position is, because he plays last week against...
we should have asked him. I don't know why we didn't ask him.
Yeah, true. But that's the thing, like, he has a good performance up front, and then people are like, yeah, that's his actual position. Like, you can tell he's got striker instincts, the way he holds up the ball. Then he plays in the 10, and he plays a bad game, and then he plays a good game, and people are like, yeah, he's better when he's behind the lap. It's like... no one knows what his actual position is, and that's why I do like these versatile players. Like, it's really useful to have versatile players like an Achampong, for example, or a Reece James. But in the attack, I'm a bit fed up of having these versatile or like Swiss Army knife players where we don't really know what their best position is because we can't really get the best out of him. And that's why I was saying to you yesterday as well. You were saying he's like the Brazilian Kai Havertz, but for me, he's a bit like Nkunku as well, where we don't really know where his best position is. He wasn't good up front. He wasn't the best in the 10. He's more of like a shadow, like second striker sort of player. And that's why
Nkunku could score goals, mate. Nkunku
Yeah.
scored goals.
No, Nkunku was
Yeah,
worse than Joao Pedro's worse.
In the Conference League.
Joao Pedro's better than Nkunku. Like we can say that for definite. Yes,
No.
it is. We can say that.
No
definite.
way.
Joao Pedro's way
What's he
better than
achieved in his
Nkunku.
career to be
Yes,
better
we
than
can. But
Nkunku?
have you seen how Nkunku's doing currently in Serie A?
No, but look at his geo of his career.
I don't
Are you
care.
kidding me?
Cool. Him scoring in the
You don't
Conference League
care.
every week doesn't phase me. Doesn't
He
move
scored
me at
goals in
all.
Germany. What are we talking about?
Yeah, in
This is the
Germany,
worst
he
So
did.
comparison.
did Werner.
No, are you actually saying
Oh,
Joao Pedro
he's
is
called
better
you
than-
there.
Miles better.
Don't get me wrong, I was
Miles
on your
better.
side, Alex, there. Alex, to be fair, I was sort of siding with you when he said Werner. He's absolutely.
No, I didn't
You know,
say
Werner
Werner. I
scored
didn't
more
say
goals
Werner.
for
I'm
Leipzig
talking
than
about,
Nkunku
I'm
did,
talking
by the
about
way.
Nkunku, mate.
Werner scored more goals in
The
for
reason I
Leipzig
don't
than Nkunku.
compare Nkunku to Joao Pedro is because Nkunku didn't run, but Nkunku got you goals, so you didn't care. And then
Where's my
the
popcorn?
reason that Nkunku got sold is because he was mismanaged by Maresca. He didn't know how to use him.
No,
Under
he sucked.
Pochettino,
He was just
like, he would have
bad.
been
Why are we
absolutely
rewriting
fantastic,
history
to be
here?
fair.
Sorry. He was crap.
He scored goals, mate. He scored goals.
Yeah, in the
For
Conference
who? Us?
Those were the only games he played.
Yeah.
I
Like,
kind of
tells the
agree with
story
you.
then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then there was moments where he was playing left wing. Like you can't really get a good representation of his performance. I mean, I
Alex,
agree with both.
you know,
He was quite good out there. I thought that's where he should have played.
No. Let's do this fairly. So in the
Ah.
27 games he played in the Premier League, would anyone like to take a guess without looking up how many goals he got?
Two.
How many of those games? were
Premier League,
consecutive?
27, 2 goals
How
You're
many
not
of those
far off. It
games
was
were
3.
consecutive?
and 4 assists, I would say.
How many
was
of those
less than that.
games were consecutive?
Or was it 3
2
assists?
assists. It was 2
2
assists.
right, okay. It wasn't far.
So Joao Pedro has already outscored him.
Because Nkunku was
playing in a better
injured.
team.
What are we doing?
Well, last season.
No, but Maresca
I think
mismanaged him.
they're
That's a
better
different
this season.
conversation.
I think
Yeah,
That's-
Maresca did mismanage. Nkunku.
I mean,
No, he
we
was
can
just
agree
crap,
to
man.
disagree. I will never ever concede that
Crap.
point. I don't think you will either, Scott.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
So
called
we
a
can
name.
move on from this one. But no, I mean, let us know in the chat as well. I'm intrigued to know. Speaking of questions and polls, actually, we've got a poll going at the moment. Is Maresca right to be angry? As it stands, 74% of you say Maresca is right to be angry. 26% of you say he is not. So big up to all of you. I'm going to finish that poll now. Also, thanks for the super chat, RT. Charles, you lil nonce. Appreciate that, mate. Very kind.
Mate, this guy, right? He does it on my channel
He's
as well.
always on your channel.
He pays money to call me a nonce. So you must get some sort of weird enjoyment out of it. But they are happy to
I
say
mean,
that.
I did text Charlie before. I was like, "Are you okay with me reading this?" Like, he was like, "Don't worry
I
about it.
don't
Don't
care.
worry about it." But yeah, thanks for the super chat, mate. Appreciate it. Keep them coming. I think on that note, we'll probably move on. So, who have we not spoken about? We haven't spoken. We haven't really spoken about Palmer, have we? We haven't spoken about Palmer.
There's not too much to say. He was better than he was against.
Well,
Bournemouth.
I mean, on an exclusive note, I asked him today if he was starting against Cardiff, and my response was, and the response he gave me was, "Ugh." And that was it. So took the picture and walked on. I was like, fair play.
His groin's all right. He said his
He's not playing
classic
against
one-word answer. How's the groin?
Can
All
I
right.
just say, am I the only person who thinks that Charlie looks a little bit like Cole Palmer?
Yes.
Well, to be fair, we've had the
That wasn't an insult. Genuine observation.
always get the Tuchel one.
I like that one. That's good.
The Tuchel one's done has happened quite a lot.
Tuchel? You're
Yeah,
nowhere
no,
near as good
quite a lot.
you're nowhere near as good looking as our Champions League winning manager, mate.
No, definitely
Oh
not.
man,
Like, we've
He'll always have a level
Yeah.
in. You know, he's
Today's
up
not
there
your day,
with Robbie Di Matteo.
fucking hell. So yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree he's probably not going to play against Cardiff.
No, he's not going to play any. He
Palmer.
wasn't going to play
Better
anyway.
not. He better
Do we
not.
think he's going to get a full 90 against Newcastle? I put him in my fantasy team, to be honest with you. I've drafted him in.
I think he
I'd
gets
say at least 75.
Yeah,
Yeah.
75. because he's played an
Depends
hour
on-
now against Bournemouth. It's been an hour against Bournemouth and Everton. So you'd expect now maybe 75, 80 as the next step.
I think it depends how the game goes. You know, I think it depends on what's happening. I think maybe if it's 1-1 in the 75th minute and he was thinking about taking Palmer off, but Palmer's looking good and looking sharp, and it's kind of, you know, we need the 3 points. I think he might consider leaving him on. I think it just depends how Palmer feels. Nobody knows how Palmer's going to feel. It, you know, if it's absolutely pissing down the rain and the pitch is really heavy, then maybe get him off after an hour again, because it's really not the pitch you want to be. Look when he done his groin against United. Look at the weather. You know, it does make a genuine difference. So I think there's a lot of factors, right? You know, if we're, you know, with any luck, we'll be 3-0 up. Reece James would have got a couple. Caicedo would have scored from inside his own half, and I can go home happy for Newcastle for the first time in many years.
I mean, Maresca's right though, isn't he? I mean, we are just a better team with Palmer, and I think we have to give.
Would be.
I mean, I don't know how many games. When did you got injured at United, right? So since United, if you actually look at how
that was his first game back, though. Sorry, right? Did he not miss 2 or 3 games from West Ham before United? He came.
Yeah, he missed the West Ham game. He missed Fulham and West Ham.
He missed.
So he played the first game.
Injured in West Ham. He got injured in
Brentford as well. Oh,
yeah,
he came on
against Brentford. Yeah, so basically, he got injured in the warm up against West Ham. So he missed West Ham and Fulham. Then he played a half against Brentford, played against Bayern Munich. Then Man United got injured, and we didn't see him from the end of September until Leeds the other week. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
fair enough. But yeah, guys, if you haven't smashed that like button, once we get to 100 likes, we're going to start off with the Q&A. Put your questions in, and we will go through as many as we can. Yeah, I do think it's been respectable, like the way we've handled Palmer being injured. But it just gives me like it's another boost for the team. I mean,
a boost to any team, right?
Oh, 100%. I think as well, like as much as I don't have confidence when we go and play against Newcastle away because we never beat them, there's a part of me that thinks, do you know what? I think that we've got a chance. I really do. I'm not saying we win the game, but I'm saying we've got to go out there and play for something. We've got Palmer back. I think Estevao starts.
Think we have a chance. We have a squad that
Newcastle are not playing well
£3 to assemble. Yeah, I think that the result today doesn't do us any favours. Could have done with them going there and winning 3-0 and thinking everything was fantastic, to be honest with you. But you know, we have to. There should be no team that we should absolutely fear. It doesn't matter whether we go to PSG or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. You know, you'd expect those teams to beat us because they're at a different stage in their development to us, and they're at a different stage than what we're at. But you talking about going to Newcastle away, that's not going to Liverpool in a Champions League semi-final away. Newcastle away is a game that we should be going to win. We're better than Newcastle. We've got better players. We're a better team. I think we've got.
Who did they have in the cup actually?
They've got Fulham, I think.
They've got Fulham.
Yeah, because it was the wrong West London team that they drew 40 miles.
So it's Fulham at home. I think Newcastle got Fulham at St James's.
That gives me confidence though, because I think they're going to take that game really seriously. So I'm going to hope that they've got players that are going to be a little bit tired come Saturday, and we can take advantage of that. I mean, history would tell you that we're going to lose, but I have a feeling. I don't know what it is. I had the same feeling against Leeds. I thought like we were going to lose. You know, when your back's against the wall and you've got to get a result, like people dive into tactics, all the rest of it. Sometimes I think you just have to look at moments and go, now is the time. And I'm feeling very good about the Newcastle game.
I think we're going to batter them.
I wouldn't go that far.
I think we're going to go out there. I think we're going to batter them. I really do. Maybe the scoreline won't necessarily reflect that. I'm not saying we're going to go there and win 5-0.
Okay. So you think we're going to get a lot of chances?
I know. Not just that. I just think that we're going to be the better team. I think we're going to go there. I think we're going to be really up for it. I think that we've got better players than Newcastle. I think that Newcastle are being exposed for having, you talk about our squad depth and the quality and our depth, and when we bring players in, I think Newcastle are being woefully exposed for that if they've got a couple of players that are off form. And I genuinely believe that do you know what it is? It's mathematical probability. We lose up there so often, eventually we're going to win. So I'm going to say it every year.
We're still waiting.
We say the same for Old Trafford as well. Never.
Yeah, we said the same for Old Trafford and Leeds. And,
Funny enough, we was Man United's bogey team for a lot of years in the 90s, a lot of years, and the noughties. We won a lot at Old Trafford. I've seen us win at Old Trafford 7 times, and I've been there 13 times. So we've got a winning record.
Because no matter how bad Newcastle are playing, I think going there is always going to be a tough game.
yeah, it's the same with United. It's the same with like any of those teams where we just have it. Everton, like I find it weird to hear that, like, when was the last, like, we haven't won at Everton, obviously, at the Goodison Park or the new ground or whatever for like a while.
Penalty.
Yeah, but Everton at us haven't won in like 30 games.
31 years,
like,
Everton's not beaten us at Stamford Bridge since 1990.
Yeah, like, it's just two teams that can't beat each other.
Who was alive the last time Everton beat Chelsea in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge?
You might be the only one.
That's what I'm guessing, right? So 94, the last time they beat us?
Yeah, November 94. But it's weird, isn't it? How
I was there. I was there, Jinx.
It's weird how some teams just like just such a bad record. Just in like there'll just be one team.
Crazy. Yeah, I know, like Tottenham, eh?
Yeah, well, exactly. It is. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great walk off as well. That's a mic drop. Okay, what about Cardiff then? Since we're previewing Newcastle as well.
Bro, this game.
It's a big game, massive game. This
needs to be a demolition. Like, all respect to Cardiff.
I don't give a shit. Win 1-0, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, like, obviously it needs to be a win at the end of that. That's most important. But like, I need to see some of these depth pieces play and perform well. Because like I said earlier, all respect to Cardiff, but it's Cardiff. Like, we should be able to play a Buenanotte, a Tosin, some of these dudes, a Hugh up front, and win.
Santos.
Yeah, like Cucurella, I expect no minutes. Enzo, I expect no minutes. Caicedo on 50-50 because we kind of don't have anyone else. I think he'll start. I do think he will as well. I'm 50-50 about whether I want him to because I just want him to be fully fit for Newcastle. But we have no one else.
He can have an hour. He'll be all right.
Yeah, we've also got no one else, so like I kind of understand. But like I don't want them to play. I don't want Palmer to play. Like I don't really want Estevao to play.
I don't want Gusto or James to play. I don't want Pedro to play. I don't want Neto to play.
Yep.
I want Gu to start. I want maybe a Gittins to start. I want Santos to start, like a Buenanotte to start, that Badia Shield, like exactly what you just said there, basically. I want all of the players that are like the fringe players because at the end of the day, that should be enough. And I'm not saying I want these players to play because I'm taking Cardiff lightly or because I'm taking the competition lightly, because I'm not. It'd be a great competition to win. And I very much hope that we are going to go through and win the bloody tournament. Of course I do. But if ever you're going to make loads of changes, it's Cardiff, not Atlanta. But,
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we need to make changes. I've been surprised. I mean, I know Buenanotte is not the best, but I'm surprised he hasn't featured at all this season. Apart from, I think the last time he played was Ajax. Was it at home?
Even though I think he's shit, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean,
still wasting time.
But yeah.
That was always a weird transfer.
Yeah, the fact that he's not back up 10, but like you could say it's Palmer, Pedro, then Buenanotte. It's just it's a bizarre signing. Yeah, it's a bizarre signing. I don't really know why we bought him. And again, a lack of squad planning. But yeah, and we should be able to win that game, even with rotation. I think the key thing is up front and in the midfield. I think rotation, we can do rotation, but I think the back line, I don't think the whole back line needs to be changed, but I think maybe I think your full backs, I think you change Cucurella for Hato. I think you play Badia Shield, and then I know Chalobah's played a lot, but I feel like if you change the whole back line, I feel like we're going to be susceptible, no matter whether it's Cardiff or not. Like, I just feel like we have it in us to concede or to just mess up against Cardiff away in these bogey sort of teams. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know.
The flip side is, though, that doesn't matter if we concede. We should be scoring more goals than Cardiff.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I mean, let's just look at Wolves. That's a perfect example. But I would say there's an element of how many times is Gittins going to score a goal like that, as well as other things as well. So, I mean,
in our first half, we dominated, though.
We did. I mean, but with dominating against a poor side, it's a very difficult way to judge players. I mean, if we're going based on that, then Tosin's world class.
I I just don't want to see us go to Cardiff away and just assume that it's 3 points straight away. Because
I think Cardiff will rest players though. That's the interesting thing, because Cardiff are going really well in the league. So I think that, you know, we're kind of looking at it purely from a Chelsea perspective, obviously Chelsea fan TV, but like, you know, from a Cardiff point of view, I also think that, you know, if they've got players that have, you know, Cardiff have got like a relatively small squad. I'm not like completely like well up to date on League One, but I keep an eye on it a little bit.
Sorry to interrupt, Warren. I just had a look. 4 days later, they go away to Lincoln, who are third in the table.
Yeah, that's just what I mean. Like, if somebody said to them, like, yeah, you're going to beat Chelsea and you're going to get a bit of a pay bonus and you might get, you know, a big club away in the next round or whatever, you know, realistically, we all know it's possible, but realistically, they're not going to win it. They're going to be focused on the league. And I think that they are definitely, if they've got somebody carrying a little bit of an injury, like, you know, we might take Chalobah out and bring Badiashile in. And I take your point on board about not changing all the defence necessarily, but, you know, we're going to bring Badiashile in. They're going to bring in somebody that we had never heard of to replace somebody that we had never heard of. So, you know, we should definitely, no matter what happens, even if we concede 7 goals, we should score 12. Like, do you know what I mean?
But no matter who we play, I think it's really important that we don't, like I just said, we don't just turn up and assume that we're going to go away with the 3 points.
We're going to have to earn the right to play. We're going to have to
earn the right. It's like Middlesbrough 2 seasons ago. We expected to win that game comfortably, and we made it an absolute. It was a horror show.
I accept blame for that because I went to that game, obviously. So if I went, you can't blame the players. It was absolutely my fault.
But yeah, no, I just don't want to see like a lack of intensity, lack of just decision.
Like against Leeds, right?
I just don't want to see laziness. Like not laziness, but sort of not switching on like against Leeds away, where we just didn't look like we were up for it. We didn't understand the occasion, the significance of the fact that Ella Road is a decent rivalry, and also the fact that when you're not playing well there, Ellen Road's just going to engulf you into the atmosphere. And I think obviously Cardiff, they're obviously less good than Leeds, but we still need to make sure that we're just focusing,
the same atmosphere.
Defending set pieces, all of those stuff. I just want to see our players switch on and just have the same intensity as we have for the other games.
Are you guys going? Who's going to the game at Cardiff?
I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50.
Alex, Charlie, and
50.
What are you guys?
What the hell is that?
What do you mean? I'm at school.
It's Christmas, mate.
Yeah, true. I actually, my last day of school is Tuesday, actually. So I could go, to be fair. I mean, I've got a ticket. I've got a ticket, but I need to.
We know that
Thomas, you live in Fulham?
No, I live like
100 yards from Stamford Bridge.
You know, Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, just opposite that.
That's not that bad. I don't know how. I mean, that's probably that's a 3-hour trip for you from London to Cardiff. That's not bad.
I'd have to take the train.
It's about 2 hours for me.
It's 1 hour 50 on the train from Paddington.
Yeah.
That's unreal. And that's a direct train.
The problem is, it would take me 3.5 hours to get to Paddington.
You're in a bit of a pickle. Maybe you need to fly.
Exactly.
I'm just going to watch it.
I agree with Ned and Gabriel, though. I mean, I agree that Cardiff are going to go for it. They're going to take it seriously.
100% they will.
I just
don't the biggest game they've had in years.
I think
it's a massive game for them.
I do. I think that if there was a question, I suppose there's 2 ways of looking at it, right? If everybody's fit and everybody's sharp, then yeah, they're going to play their first 11. But if they've got a question mark over their captain or their centre back or their full back or whatever, I genuinely believe that they're going to look at Lincoln, who I'm not sure, was it Scott that said that they had Lincoln a couple of days later, who are third in the table. I think that they're going to, in that situation, they're going to prioritise Lincoln. However, it shouldn't really matter, and that is the fundamental point. And I guess, you know, we should.
That's ultimately, that's what I said earlier. Like, ultimately, you might not rate some of these guys like Tosin, Buenanotte, some of these dudes would be their Cardiff's best player. Like, if they can't perform against these teams, like, why are you here?
Why are you even in? Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I
didn't realise Omari Kellyman is.
It sucks. He can't play for them, unfortunately. But it sucks because I wanted to see him play.
I think they should be allowed to do that. I like the UEFA rule with that UEFA have introduced in the last few years. If you loan a player to another team, that's your problem. If you felt like you didn't need him, then you should be able to play against him. I like the
Maybe
fact
that should be like a separate agreement that the clubs.
Well, you can, right? But you can do, right? So when Lampard was in charge at Derby, and they had, was it like Tomori and Mount? Yeah, and they requested permission for them to play against Chelsea in the League Cup, and they did. And I believe that Tomori actually scored an own goal, right? That got us back in the game, ironically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was it something that it was, wasn't it? He scored an own goal in front of the Matthew Harding. But yeah, so there is like a situation where they're allowed to do it. But I believe that if you loan a player out to another team, that means that you don't need him and you can do without him. So he should be able to play against you. 100%.
Fair enough. Okay. Just so people do know how Cardiff play, if you don't watch them, apparently they try to dominate possession. They're one of those types of teams. Well, obviously, I doubt that will be the case against us. They line up with a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 hybrid. So
watch them play a back five on Tuesday.
It'll be a 5-4-1, won't it?
You know what?
5-4-1. I'm calling it a 5-4-1.
I don't know how I'm supposed to judge a team playing against, was it, who did they play? Stevenage? And then think they're going to set up the same way against.
The manager as well. I completely forgot this until just looking at their Wikipedia page. Their manager, Brian Barry Murphy. You'll have no idea. You'll not be able to guess who he was the manager of prior to Cardiff.
Swansea?
Nope.
FC Colne.
Is it abroad?
I'll tell you now. It's not like a first team, if that makes sense.
Oh,
is it an English team?
Yes.
Barcelona B. Reserve manager somewhere.
Yes.
Barcelona B?
No.
Chelsea?
He was Manchester City's most recent reserves or youth team manager.
Damn. Maresca needs to watch out. There you go. He's coming for your job.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to just do a couple of questions. We'll do. Should we say 5 questions because there's 5 of us, and then we'll wrap it up. So put a question in the chat if you haven't already. Smash the like button, guys. Really appreciate everyone that's watching. As it stands, we've got almost 1,400 people on all platforms. So if you're an ex, like, retweet, come over onto YouTube as well. Share the love; it makes a difference. Big up to everyone as well. Where do we start? Oh, actually, Charlie, do you know we haven't spoken about Willie Isa? We've got to speak about that. Go on, you tell them about Willie Isa, mate.
You say, mate. You do that.
All right. Well, basically, when we were at the training ground, he came over to us and he had a chat. By the way, the nicest guy, really nice guy. And I know people say that all the time, but he was genuine. He was genuine. He was with us for what, 10, 20 minutes? A long time, just having a chat with us and a couple of other fans. And one of the first things that Willie Isa said to us, by the way, guys, if you don't know who Willie Isa is, actually, it might help to give you a bit of context. He is the rugby player that was brought in to help build a winning culture. And everyone took the piss out of him when we first signed because we were poor at the time. So I guess you kind of understand it. But from having met him and my experience, and I think Charlie would agree with me, I think he's class. I think he's absolutely class. The first thing he said to us was, I need your help. How can we make things better at Chelsea? It was the first thing he said to us. And in a way, I was like, what do you mean? But then he started talking to another fan.
What did you say to that?
Well, he was speaking, an older bloke next to us started chatting with him, and we were talking about the atmosphere. And something very, very interesting is we were speaking about the lack of atmosphere at Stamford Bridge. And he said, well, how do we change that? He said, I noticed that. He said, Barcelona or Arsenal was good. Why is it not like that more often? And the fan basically said, and he's correct, is that you've got a lot of fans in Matthew Harding and the Shed that have had season tickets for 30 years. And they're getting a little bit older. They don't want to stand up. They don't want to shout anymore. So what he was told by this fan was, listen, if you gave these fans the opportunity to relocate into the west or the east, into a seat where they don't really have to chant, they can just sit and watch the game, and then you can give younger fans the opportunity to go into MHL and make more noise, because it is younger fans generally that that get the atmosphere going. You don't agree with that?
No. Go ahead.
So yeah, he said that was he was very open to that. He had a guy taking notes next to him. He was like, "Go on, take notes." And then we spoke about music after goals. He asked me about my opinion on that. I said I don't like it at all. It sort of Americanizes the game. I mean, he was an open book. Basically, he said, "Listen, guys, I'm new here. I'm trying to take in as much information as I can." And the other thing, just to go on football, and I'll wrap it up, is he said the one game that has really, really affected was it the team or him, Charlie?
I think it was
him was when we lost to Leeds. And he said that was the one game where we didn't have that mentality, that desire. He said that dog mentality. And he said after that game, he went through with a lot of players, just picking up on small details that they need to improve. And I just thought, like, the fact that he's saying this to us as fans who are just coming to visit, like, you can say it's good, it's bad. I just think it's great that he's been open, number one. I think it's great that he's actually interacting with the fans. It's not fake either. He was honestly genuine. I mean, I can't stress that enough. But whether that has an impact is another thing. But I just want to say that anyone who's been criticizing Willie Isa, having met him, I've got nothing but good things to say. Do you have anything to add to that, Charlie?
No, I don't think so. I think, it's just nice that he's, open to, but whether, I mean, he can't personally make any changes, but he can obviously take those thoughts and give them to people that are, in charge of the relative departments and relative situations. But it's nice to know that there are people in the club that are actually genuinely interested in making a difference to the match day experience, making a difference to the culture, making a difference to a lot of things. Even just, the work that he's doing with the players. I think there's a big difference in mentality and mindset to even just a couple seasons ago. So, I know I won't lie. I did sort of laugh a bit when he was first appointed, when you see like, ex-rugby star appointed as like to improve mentality or whatever it was. It's sort of like, what the fuck are we doing here? But yeah, I think he's definitely has had a positive impact.
Okay, let's get on to some of the questions. Let's start off. Scott, mate, do you think Reggie Walsh should play against Cardiff?
He was the one, when I said about Caicedo starting, what I was debating is whether you could start a midfield of Buonanotte, Reggie Walsh and Santos, and whether that would work. Like, it is quite risky, even against Cardiff. I know I said everything about Cardiff, but like, from a stylistic point of view, you've got effectively two 10s. I know Reggie Walsh has played deeper, but I'm pretty sure in the academy he was a 10. Playing with a guy who's more of an 8. So, like, you don't really have any defensive assurance, especially with potentially Tosin at the back. But at the very least, I'd like to see him get good minutes off the bench. It's clear that Maresca does like him. I'd like to see him get minutes. Whether he starts or not, I don't know. But yeah, I'd like to see him get minutes off the bench.
I'd rather Buonanotte play again than Walsh.
Actually, sorry, I was literally about to say the opposite. If
he's a Brighton player, why would you want to develop?
I was going to say there is a part of me that wants Walsh to play ahead of Buonanotte. Like, I don't care what Buonanotte does at this club.
Thomas, what do you think about Estevao getting benched? Is he being overbenched by Maresca, and his head might be turned towards Madrid, according to Gratitude?
No, I just think that he's been drip-fed well into the team the first couple months. I think Maresca's managed him super well because he's 18. I don't think we expected him to start this many games this season. I think he's been implemented into the team, I think, very well by Maresca, not putting all the light on him. Obviously, the Chelsea fans, they clearly have a big, like, they adore him a lot. They have a big love for him. Obviously, every time he's on the ball, he's the one player where the whole crowd just, like, they love to watch him play. I think he's just been implemented into the team very well. And we saw against Leeds away just that lack of experience and, showing that he's slightly young. shows that, yeah, that's maybe why Maresca has been benching him, because when you got Neto, who's reliable, who's consistent in terms of we know what we're going to get from him. Obviously, it might not be the best performance every week, and there might be a lack of quality on the ball, but we know what we're going to get with him. Whereas Estevao, like we were saying before, he takes on his man, and sometimes he'll lose the ball, like against Everton in the last 10 minutes of the game. So I think he's been drip fed well into the team, and I think that the games like Wolves away in the Cup, the Champions League games, the lesser teams, obviously Cardiff, I expect him to start. Those sort of games, I think we will see him play. And then obviously the bigger games as well, I feel like he's very much up for it. I think it's not experienced, but I think in his mind, I think he's developed enough to understand the importance and significance of those sort of fixtures. But I think it's important with someone like with Estevao, who's only 18 years old. You need to be careful with not overplaying him, not overworking him, and not putting all the pressure on him for him to be our starting winger and for him to produce every single week. So I think Maresca's done well to manage him, and yeah, I think we're going to see him once a week, whether it's in the Cup or in the league. So it's dependent on what Maresca thinks suits the game best.
Warren, do you think that Maresca's comments will have repercussions? We're going to do a couple more and then we're going to wrap it up.
I suppose it depends what happens in the coming weeks. I suppose as an isolated comment, it's very easy for it just to sort of get lost in everything else that happens every single day, because so much happens in football every single day and so many things change that I think that by next week we could have almost just completely forgot what he said. So I think it will depend on results. I think it will depend on performances. I think it will depend on a couple of different factors in the coming weeks as to whether we're even having this discussion whatsoever. Just touching on what Thomas said there, that I suppose I agree to a point. I suppose it's going back to talking about the whole rotation thing. I think there's a balance. I think that when it comes to drip feeding Estevao into the team, I think there's a balance to it. And I think that I personally believe, and I'm not a coach, it's just from a fan's point of view, that I think that he's over managing certain things. I think that if you look at, just for example, just someone who popped into my head, Cesc Fabregas, right? He came into the Arsenal team towards the end of the season when he was 16 because some people were injured and Arsenal were going to kind of finish where they was going to finish. And three seasons later, he'd played 160 games, right? Sometimes putting the pressure on that player and like expecting Estevao to produce regularly, like we're sort of saying we're protecting him from that, maybe playing him and putting him under that pressure is going to bring the best out of him. And that's something I'd like to see. I appreciate the balance that Maresca's going for. I think he's over managing it. But yeah,
that's a fair point. Go on, Scott. Go on.
I think the over managing thing is what I'm kind of tired of, because I get his point. Like, he doesn't want to end up like Yamal, where he's playing 30 games a season. He shouldn't be doing that. But the usage of Estevao I find really weird, just because, like, I look at, for example, like, I understand there's a bit of an age gap, but when you're playing players who have played, hundreds of games up to this point, and you're just playing them anyway and they're young, does the same not apply? They're going to burn out quickly, but you still play them. So, like, I just think just play him. Like,
there's only like 2 or 3 years between him and the next. But when you talk about,
because you mentioned earlier one about like the Rafael thing, I was curious. Garnacho, before he joined Chelsea, played like 140 games. He's 21. Like, he has played a lot of games. So he still plays every week. And I understand there's like a 3-year gap, but even so, Garnacho is not going to play till he's 35. He's probably going to get to like 30, 31 and then drop off. Yeah. It's like kind of normal. So like, just play him.
Yeah, agreed.
Is Tyreek George on loan? No, he's not. We saw him today, so I can confirm. There's exclusive updates. Tyreek George is not on loan. Let's just finish on this one, Charlie. Buonanotte deserves a chance. He's a very talented player. Maybe some people here don't know him well enough. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, look, he's clearly got some ability. Last season he was on loan at Leicester, and then they got relegated, and he wasn't particularly good there. Didn't produce the best numbers. Was in and out the side. When he first joined Brighton, it was okay. He showed some promise. But yeah, look, the guy might have some ability, but he's nowhere near good enough to play for Chelsea on a regular basis.
That's the point. That's the point.
By the way, everyone that's professional football in the Premier League is unbelievable, but he is not good enough to play for Chelsea. Plus, it's a loan where we're not going to develop a player for Brighton and send them back. Like, if there was some sort of permanency to this deal, you might see him used a bit more. But he was purely signed, I think, as cover for the injuries that we had. Maresca said at the start, he was asked before one of the games recently why Bernat has not been playing. He said, look, he's played at the start because we had injuries and there was room for him, and now there's not room for him. And that just basically kind of tells you everything. And you're not going to develop a player for another club and send them back. There's no option to buy. I think there's maybe matching rights on any offers that come in if we want to. I think we know full well we won't be doing that. And he's just kind of there to make the numbers up in training right now and play an odd minute here and there. I don't really know why Brighton agreed to the loan, because they could have sent him somewhere to play regularly, knowing full well he's not going to play regularly at Chelsea. So the whole thing from both Brighton's side and Chelsea's side does not make any sense.
I think Brighton probably wanted to free up some wage room. And I think that Brighton and Chelsea, like you said, it doesn't actually make sense even saying this, but I think from like a back room point of view, maybe Chelsea and Brighton have got a very good understanding and a very good relationship with transfers. And I think that Chelsea saw an opportunity, exactly as you said there, Charlie, to bulk out, training sessions and to bulk out the squad and to still have somebody there, even if he's not like top quality, to have somebody there that's not a complete liability. And I think it worked for both clubs, right? And I think that, the business we've done recently suggests that someone's made a phone call and God, do us a favour, and they've gone, yeah, all right.
No, that's probably, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I don't think this would happen between most clubs, but I think you can see it with Brighton and Chelsea. It's probably going to continue to happen. To be fair, there'll probably be many more of these in the future. Listen, really appreciate everyone that's watched the show. It's been a great one today. It's been a nice panel as well. Good to see all of it. This is actually the first time we've had all of you on a panel together, if I'm not wrong. Obviously, I know you've been
so I had Tommy and Scott last time as well.
And Kev, right?
Yourself and
Kev?
No, Lewis.
No, is it Carve?
Oh,
no,
Damesh.
Sorry, forgive me. No,
Lewis was also on there as well.
Yeah, please forgive me. Lewis was also on as well.
Yeah. Oh, was Lewis on? Okay, cool. Fair enough. Well, Warren, it's been great having you on, mate. Hopefully we really keep having you on. Big up to you, my friend. And by the way, just for some people, I did see some comments. Do you want to just give a bit of clarity on the Rangers shirt? Because I've seen one or two comments since you clarified at the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, so I am obviously a born and bred Chelsea fan. First game in 1989. My dad's been going since the 60s, so I am historically a Chelsea fan. Obviously associated closely with Chelsea are Glasgow Rangers as well as Hamburg and Lingfield, making us the Blues brothers across Europe. And the reason that I decide to wear the Rangers shirt and have my Chelsea shirt in the background is as a little bit of a personal protest to not just the cost of football tops, because I appreciate they cost a lot for every single football club, but when you consider home strips, away strips, alternative kits, goalkeeper kits, and then variations of tops with World Club champions and Champions League stickers and Premier League stickers and all like names on the back, and if you're going to get Tosin or whatever, and you're paying per the letter, it's going to cost you a fortune. So it's kind of my personal little message to say that I think that it should be a lot more affordable for people. If you've got 3 children and you've got a child who wants to be a goalkeeper, and a child who wants to be Reece James, and a child who wants to be Cole Palmer, it's going to cost you like $4,000 a year in tops. And so it's my little one of them to the club. Right. In that sense. So just to clarify that, but I am obviously, just to clarify, a huge Chelsea fan as well, and we was all glad to see Celtic lose today, just to clarify that once again as well.
There you go. Charlie, mate, where can people find you?
Well,
obviously on here.
On here. Yeah, they can find me on here. I won't be giving out my address for them.
What's your address?
Yeah. And you can find me on my own channel as well, Blue Brothers CFC. Those are the 2 places.
Go and check out Charlie.
I know I don't have any kids.
That's a very direct question. Where did that come from? Fair enough. Thomas, mate, good to have you on as well. So have you decided? You must have decided on the stream you are going to Cardiff. Can we have
He's going to Cardiff.
on the situation?
Yeah, he's going. We'll see him there. It's done. Yeah.
You're going Newcastle as well, right?
No, not Newcastle.
What do you mean? No.
To be fair,
I was going to take you in a car park and show you how to play tennis. I was.
when is it? Is it on Saturday?
Yeah,
it is on Saturday, mate.
Is it on Saturday?
I can go as well. I can go.
Oh, hey, listen. I'll if you're going up there, then I might travel up with you if you want, because I haven't actually booked my thing. I mean, I was liaising with Warren about this. I still haven't figured out what I'm doing, Warren. No,
because
the offer's still open, by the way.
I appreciate
that. Blinder. It will be a blinder as well. I know.
I got to submit all my personal statement stuff to you.
Well, hurry up and do that tomorrow. You've got Friday.
Yeah, I could, but if I'm in Newcastle the whole day, it just seems like I'm just not taking.
Hey, Newcastle don't work on a Saturday anyway. They have
true. They don't even work in.
They don't work. They don't work on a Monday. I can assure you.
Yeah. No. The school just stopped helping me as well. The
Newcastle fans are not going out for the next 3 days. I can assure you.
No.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, it's decided. Thomas is coming to Cardiff and Newcastle. Scott, always a pleasure to have you on as well, mate. When's your next game?
I have no idea. The next one I know I'm going to, or I want to go to, is Brentford. Apart from that, no idea.
Brentford at home.
Yeah,
so it won't be away, would it?
Yeah, that's true. We've already done it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, Scott. I may be able to help you with potentially Bournemouth, or maybe even Villa. I'm not 100% which one, but I might be able to help you with one of those if you're interested.
Help me with Newcastle.
I'll see what I can do, mate. But yeah, let me know, Scott, if you want them. I might be able to help. But listen, big up to all of you. We've had a great panel today. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out everyone else as well, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. All the best, and we will see you very